Sound. Sound is produced by vibration of materials. Vibration or oscillation. If a body moves to and fro repeatedly about a mean position, its motion is called as oscillatory motion. One complete back and forth motion of oscillating body about its mean, that is central position, is called a vibration or an oscillation. For example, when we vibrate a tightly stretched metal strings, it makes a to and fro motion about its central axis. During to and fro motion, string goes from upward extreme position to downward extreme position. When the string goes from upward extreme position to downward extreme position and then back to upward extreme position, we say that string has completed one vibration or one oscillation. The whole musical instrument is forced to vibrate by plucking string, striking membranes, etc. And it is the sound of the vibration of the instrument that we hear. In humans, the sound is produced by vocal cords present in voice box or larynx when the lungs force air through the slit present between cord. Air passing through the slit causes vibration in stretched vocal cords, producing sound. Sound travels through a medium. It may be gas, liquid, or solid. It cannot travel in vacuum. We hear sound through our ear. The human ear has three main parts. Outer ear, it has a canal at the end of which a stretched membrane called as eardrum. The sound waves pass through ear canal and eardrum vibrates. Middle ear, it has a set of three bones which are linked together and attached to eardrum. These bones receive vibrations from eardrum and pass on to the inner ear. Inner ear. The inner ear receives vibrations from middle ear and changes them into nerve impulses. These nerve impulses are carried by nerve or auditory nerve to brain. The brain interprets impulses, that is how we hear. Musical sounds. The sounds which produce pleasant sensation to the ear are called as musical sounds. Musical instruments. Musical instruments are generally of the following types: string instruments, wind instruments or reed instruments, membrane instruments, Ganavadya. String instruments. The vibration of string produced musical sound as in sitar. Wind instruments. The column of air vibrates by blowing air directly through tubes. This is called as reeds, as in shehnai or flute. Membrane instruments. The musical sound is produced due to vibration of a skin or membrane mounted on the instruments such as tabla. Ghanavadya, the instruments which are simply beaten or struck as in manjira, cymbals, and jaltarang. Noise. The sounds which produce unpleasant sensation to the ears is called as noise. Time period, frequency, amplitude. Time period. The time taken by a vibrating body to complete one oscillation is called time period. Frequency. The number of oscillations completed by a vibrating body in 1 second is called frequency. Frequency is equal to number of oscillations divided by time taken. The unit of frequency is hertz. It is denoted by Hz. If a vibrating body makes 20 oscillations in a second, we say that its frequency is 20 hertz. The human voice can produce sounds with a frequency between 60 and 13,000 hertz. The human voice can be heard at a sound frequency between 20 to 20,000 hertz. The sounds of frequency higher than 20,000 hertz and less than 20 hertz cannot be heard by human ear. The ears of some animals like bat, dog respond to sounds of frequency higher than 20,000 Hz. The sound of frequency greater than 20,000 Hz is called ultrasonic. Amplitude. During to and fro motion, a vibrating string goes a certain distance in upward or downward direction from its central position, that is, position of rest. The maximum distance in which the string goes upward or downward from its central position is called as amplitude. The maximum displacement of an oscillating body from its central position is called amplitude. Loudness. Loudness of sound depends on the amplitude of vibration. It is proportional to the square of the amplitude of the vibration producing the sound. It is if the amplitude becomes twice, the loudness increases by factor of 4. The loudness is expressed in a unit called as decibel, small d, capital B. Shrillness or pitch. Frequency determines the pitch of a sound. If the frequency of vibration is higher, higher is the pitch and shriller is the sound. Causes of noise and harms of noise pollution. Causes of noise. Sounds of vehicles, machines, firecrackers, explosions, loudspeakers, including television, transistor, radio at high volumes, aeroplanes, etc., contribute to noise pollution. The harms associated with noise pollution. Presence of excessive noise in the surrounding may cause lack of sleep, hypertension, anxiety, temporary or even permanent impairment of hearing. Measures to limit noise pollution. Noise producing industries should be set up away from residential areas. Airports should be made away from residential areas. Silencing devices must be installed in aircraft engines. Use of automobile horns should be minimized. TV, music systems, loudspeakers should be run at low volumes. Trees must be planted along the roads and around buildings. Use of high noise creating crackers should be avoided. Sound. Sound is a form of energy which helps us to talk with each other. Vacuum. When air is removed from a vessel, there is a space called as vacuum. Sound plays an important role in our lives. We hear a variety of sounds in our surroundings. Sound produced by musical instruments like flute and tabla is by vibrations. The vibratory motion is also called as oscillatory motion. The unit of frequency is hertz. When sound enters in our ear, it travels down a canal at the end of which there is a thin stretched membrane called as eardrum. The tube-like vessel through which air enters in the lungs is called as windpipe. What is sound? Sound is the medium by which we communicate with one another. How is sound produced? Sound is produced by vibrating bodies. Do all bodies produce sound? No, all bodies cannot produce sound. What do you feel when you touch a sound producing school bell? We feel the vibrations in the bell. Touch the bell when it stops producing sound. Can you feel the vibration? No, we cannot feel the vibrations. What do you understand by this? We understand that only vibrating bodies can produce sound. What do you understand by vibration? The back and forth motion of an object is called vibration. In some cases, we cannot see vibrations. Explain why. When amplitude of vibration is very small, we cannot see or feel them. What is amplitude? The maximum displacement of a vibrating body on one side is called as amplitude. Name a musical instrument which produces sound by air column. Answer: flute. Name the sound producing organ in human. Answer: larynx. What is the other name of larynx? Larynx is also called as voice box. What are vocal cords? The cords stretched across the voice box or larynx are called vocal cords. Do all animals produce sound by vocal cords? No, all animals do not produce sound by vocal cords. On which quality of sound or voice depend? The quality of sound or voice depends on the looseness or tightness of the vocal cords. Do the length of vocal cords is same in men and women? No, the length of vocal cords is not same in men and women. What is the length of vocal cords in men and women? The length of vocal cords in men and women is 20 millimeter and 15 millimeter respectively. How does sound travel from one place to another? Sound travels through a material medium from one place to another. Can sound travel through vacuum? No, sound cannot travel through vacuum. What type of medium is required to travel sound? The medium may be solid, liquid, or gas. How do whales and dolphins hear the sound? Whales and dolphins live in water. They hear sound through water. Name the organs in human which receive sound. Ears. What is the outer part of ear called? The outer part of ear is called as pinna. It is funnel shaped. What is eardrum? A thin and stretched membrane is called eardrum. It is present between the outer ear and middle ear. What is oscillatory motion? The vibratory motion is also called as oscillatory motion. What do you mean by frequency? The number of oscillations in 1 second is called as frequency. Write the unit of frequency. The unit of frequency is hertz. Define hertz. A frequency of 1 hertz is 1 oscillation per second. What are the two main properties of a sound which help us to recognize sound? Amplitude and frequency are the two important properties of sound. Define time period. The time taken by vibrating body to complete one oscillation is called as time period. On which factor loudness of sound depends? The loudness of sound depends on the amplitude. What is pitch or shrillness of sound? The characteristic of sound which depends on its frequency is called as pitch of a sound. What is the hearing range of human ears? Hearing range of human ears is 20 to 20,000 Hz. What are frequencies of sound which are inaudible? The frequencies of sound which are inaudible are less than 20 Hz and more than 20,000 Hz. How does the amplitude affect the loudness of voice? Higher the amplitude, louder is the voice. Why the sound of a baby is feeble? Sound of a baby is feeble due to its small amplitude. What frequencies are heard by dogs and cats? The dogs can hear up to 40,000 Hz frequencies while cats can hear up to 70,000 Hz frequencies. What is ultrasound? The sound having frequency more than 20,000 Hz is called as ultrasound. What is noise? The loud sound which produces unpleasant sensation is called as noise. What do you mean by musical sound? The sound which produces pleasant sensation is musical sound. Give examples of noise and musical sound. The sound in classroom is noise while sound of any musical instrument is musical sound. What do you mean by air pollution? Presence of unwanted gases and dust particles in air is called as air pollution. What is noise pollution? Presence of excessive or unwanted sounds in environment is called as noise pollution. What sources in home may lead to noise? Television, transistor, radio, coolers, etc. can produce noise. What is the unit of loudness? The unit of loudness is decibel. What is the loudness of a normal conversation? The loudness of normal conversation is 60 decibel. Write common ill effect of noise pollution. The most common ill effect of noise pollution is temporary deafness. Write any one method to control noise pollution. To grow more and more plants along the roadsides is one of the methods to control noise pollution. Short answer type questions. How is sound produced? The vibrating bodies produce the sound. When the body vibrates, sound is produced. If vibrations are stopped, the sound is not produced anymore. Explain the importance of sound in our daily life. Sound plays an important role in our daily life. Our life depends on sound for each and every action. Without sound, we cannot know what others communicate or want to communicate. Sound enables us to communicate with each other. What are musical instruments and how do they produce sound? The devices which produce various types of sounds which are pleasant to our ears are called as musical instruments. Such sound is called music. The musical instruments have strings or the stretched membranes attached or fixed to them. Some instruments have air columns. When these instruments vibrate, the sound is produced. Explain with the help of an activity that vibrating bodies produce sound. Take a rubber band, put it around the longer side of pencil box, insert two pencils between the box and the rubber band, plug the rubber band somewhere in the middle. You hear a sound and also see the rubber band vibrates. This activity shows that vibrating objects produce sound. Do you see the vibrations in all the cases? The vibrating objects produce sound in some cases. The vibrations are easily visible to us. But in most of the cases, the vibrations are not visible due to very small amplitude. But the vibrations in all the cases can be felt. What is Ektara? Identify its vibrating part. Take a hollow coconut shell or an earthen pot and make a musical instrument. Such instrument is called ektara. Play this instrument. You hear a sound. The stretched rubber band or a wire is the vibrating part. Explain the principle on which Jal Tarang works. Jal Tarang works on the principle that the quality of sound is changed as its frequency changes. Metal tumbler filled with water up to different heights give vibrations of different frequencies, hence produce different types of sounds. Name the organ in human that produces sound. How does it work? In humans, the sound is produced by voice box or larynx. The voice box has two vocal cords stretched across it in such a way that it leaves a slit for the passage of air. When the lungs force air through slit, the vocal cords vibrate to produce sound. Prove that sound needs a medium for propagation. Take a metal glass tumbler, place a cell phone in it. Ask your friend to give ring on this cell phone. Listen to the ring carefully. Now surround the rim of the tumbler with your hands. Put your mouth on opening between your hands. Indicate to your friend to give a ring again. Listen the ring while sucking air from the tumbler. You will not listen any sound. This activity shows that sound requires a medium to propagate. What do you mean by vacuum? What happens to the loudness of sound in vacuum? The decreasing amount of air causes decrease in the loudness of sound. When air is removed completely from a vessel, it is said that there is vacuum. If all the air is sucked from the vessel, the sound would stop completely. The sound cannot travel through a vacuum. Prove that sound can travel through the liquids. Take a bucket, fill it with clean water. Take a small bell in one hand. Shake the bell inside the water to produce sound. Place your ear gently on the water surface. You can hear the sound. It indicates that the sound can travel through liquids. Prove that sound can travel through solids. Take a long metal rod or a meter scale and hold its one end to your ear. Ask your friend to gently scratch or tap at the other end of the metal rod. You can hear the sound. The sound reaches your ear through the solid rod. The other friends cannot hear the sound because sound is very low. This activity shows that sound travels in solids. How do human beings hear? The hearing organs in human are ears. Ears have a thin stretched membrane called as eardrum. When ears receive sound, it enters down the ear canal and reaches the eardrum. Vibrations of sound vibrate the eardrum and it sends vibrations to inner ear, from which vibrations are sent to brain for interpretation of the sound. What do you mean by an oscillatory motion? The to and fro motion of the object is called vibration. This motion is on either side of the object from its main position and is called oscillatory motion. What is frequency? How does it affect the quality of sound? The number of oscillations per second is called frequency. Its unit is hertz. A frequency of 1 hertz is 1 oscillation per second. The frequency determines the shrillness of sound. It is also called pitch of sound. The high frequency makes the pitch high, and if the pitch is low, the frequency is less. What are the two important properties of sound? Amplitude and frequency are the two important properties of sound. What is amplitude? It is the maximum displacement from the mean position of an oscillatory body. It controls the loudness of sound. More the amplitude, more loud the sound. Frequency. The number of oscillations in 1 second is called frequency. It controls the pitch of the sounds. High pitched sound means high frequency. What do you mean by noise and musical sound? Noise. Unpleasant sounds are called as noise. It is unwanted sound. It is harmful to our ears. Musical sound. The sound which produces pleasant sensation is called musical sound. It is produced by various musical instruments. How does shrillness or pitch get affected by frequency? The frequency determines the shrillness or pitch of sound. If the frequency of the vibration is higher, we say that the sound is shrill and has a higher pitch. If the frequency of vibration is lower, we say that the sound has a lower pitch. For example, a drum vibrates with a low frequency, therefore it produces a low pitch sound. A whistle has a high frequency and therefore produces sound of higher pitch. A bird makes a higher pitched sound than roar of a lion. However, the roar of a lion is very loud, while the sound of the bird is quite feeble. What are the methods to control noise pollution? Methods of controlling noise pollution: by reducing the source of loud noise. TV, radio should be played at the low volumes. Trees should be planted. The use of loudspeakers should be minimized or avoided. Blowing of horns should be avoided. Explain the structure and function of human ear. There are following parts of the human ear: outer ear, middle ear, inner ear. The outer ear, it is outer part of the ear. It has a canal. At the end of the canal, a stretched membrane is attached. This membrane is called as eardrum. The sound waves pass through the canal and the eardrum starts to vibrate. Middle ear. There are three bones in middle ear. These bones are linked together and attached to the eardrum. These bones receive vibrations from eardrum and pass it to the inner ear. Inner ear. The inner ear receives the vibration from three bones of middle ear, which are changed into nerve impulse. These impulses are carried to the nerve by auditory nerve. The brain interprets the impulses. In this way, our ear can hear the sound. A pendulum oscillates 40 times in 4 seconds. Find its time period and frequency. Number of oscillations 40, total time 4 seconds. So time taken to complete one oscillation is the total time upon number of oscillations is 4 by 40, 1 by 10.1 seconds. So the time period is 0.1 second. The sound from a mosquito is produced when it vibrates its wings at an average rate of 500 vibrations per second. What is the time period of the vibration? Total vibration 500, time taken 1 second. Time taken to complete one vibration is 1 by 500, 0.002 seconds. So the time period is 0.002 seconds.